My name's Duncan. I've worked for Disney for about 25 years. About 6 years ago, I got a call from the chairman who said, "You're no longer in charge of global PR, you're in charge of innovation and creativity." To which my response was, "What the hell is that?" And so we sent, the first thing we did was survey 5,000 people across the organization: Lucasfilms, Marvel, Pixar, Disney, Disney Parks, Consumer Products, ABC, ESPN. What are the 5 biggest barriers to being innovative and creative at work? I don't suppose any of them will come as an enormous surprise to you, but our 5 biggest barriers were: first is time, or lack thereof. And you hear people in the office say, "I don't have time to think." So how might we give them more time to think? The second one is innovation. Everybody, "Oh my God, I must have innovation." And if you ask anybody for their definition of innovation, you'll get a different one. And so we needed to establish some common language in the organization as to what innovation was. The third is, we're a risk-averse organization. So how might we create a design thinking, creative problem-solving model that gave people the courage, capability, quite frankly, to go out and take smart risks? The fourth one, which I think is a huge barrier for a lot of organizations, is consumer insight was being underused. I would say it was being ignored by a great deal of the organization. So how might we make all of our marketing team at the time much more consumer-centric than they were? And the last one, which I know was never a barrier for any of you, ideas get stuck, diluted, or killed as they move through the organization. So we created something we called the Innovation Toy Box. It's about 4 stages. I'm only covering 1 today. The first one is, how might we align around a challenge and make sure you're working on the right thing? Number 2 is, how might we go out and collect insights for innovation by actually getting out of our offices and spending time with our consumers? Number 3 is, help me think differently, probably the biggest single barrier for all of us. That's the section I'm going to cover today. And number 4 is, okay, now I've selected the idea, how do I get it executed without it getting diluted, stuck, or killed as it moved through the organization? So the first thing we did was create a definition of creativity. It's not the right one, it's not the wrong one, it's just one, so that we had a common definition. Ours is the habit of continually doing things in new ways to make a positive difference to our working lives. The habit of continually doing things in new ways to make a positive difference to our working lives. What one word in that particular definition stands out for you? Habit, right? Creativity is not a habit for most of us. Your boss comes in and says, "I need a big idea, you've got 20 minutes. That's usually the way. So you run off to the cupboard, you get the dusty box off Mark Creativity, you bring it out, and you're creative. And it's like a muscle. It's like anything. It's like my French. I used to live in France. I had fluent French. Now I order a ham sandwich every time I go to Paris, because like un sandwich de jambon, s'il vous plaît. It's the only thing I can order when I get there. It's about making a habit, and I will prove to you that you can learn new habits. What I'd like you to do for a moment is just sit back on your chairs and fold your arms. Get comfy. Just fold your arms. Okay, how does that feel? Comfortable? How else? Sorry? Guarded? Okay. What I'd like you to do, put your hands in the air, give them a good shake. Now I want you to fold them the other way. If it still feels comfortable, I promise you, you're not doing it right. Took me a few. So how does that feel? Uncomfortable. How else does it feel? Awkward. Sorry? Restrictive. Whose arms are these anyway, right? So you can let go. It's all good. Innovation makes you feel awkward. That's how you know you're doing something innovative. Woody Allen once said, if you're not failing every now and then, you're not trying something new. But the science of your brain says that if you fold and unfold your arms simultaneously the wrong way 40 times, 3 days in a row, you will have rewired your brain to fold your arms the other way. So you can, in fact, learn new habits. One of the biggest challenges is, actually, let me just ask you a question. Who are the most creative people you know? Kids, right? Usually about this tall. So what are kids really good at? Imagination. All right. Shout out, guys, because it's hard to hear you over the people at the back. What else? Speaking freely. What else? Play. What? Okay. No politics. What else are kids really good at? Fearless. Honest. Yes, they are. Let me tell you how honest they are. Because I have the accent from the small island in the British Isles, I was naturally elected to teach soccer at my son's at my son's junior school. Of course, I was crap at soccer, but I was the coach. So we're running out onto what I called the pitch, what everybody else would call the field. And this little kid, he's about 6 years old, he goes, "Hey, coach." I was like, "What?" He goes, "You look like a really famous English soccer player." I was like, "Wow." Well, clearly the only soccer player he could know is David Beckham, right? So I leaned in, I said, "David Beckham." He goes, "No, Wayne Rooney." So I don't know if you know Wayne Rooney. He's the ugliest player in the English Premier League. So what question do kids ask? Why? What do they ask after that? And the third question? All right. They're very, very curious. Very curious. What's the answer after the third why, by the way? Exactly. So if that's what kids are really good at, what do we do really well? What are we good at? Saying no. Limits. Rules. We're good at rules. Sorry, process. What? Taking a great nap. So, let me ask you, what about words that end in I-Z-E? We're really good at that. Analyze. Organize. Criticize. Prioritize. Marginalize. Judgmentalize. We're really good, terrorize. We're really good at the I-Z-E. Here's what these are. These are really just two forms of thinking. There is expansive thinking and reductive thinking. Children think expansively. Adults think reductively. Those are both stages that are required in an innovation project. As a percentage of time, how much do you think you should spend in expansive and how much do you think you should spend in reductive? Anybody? 60-20. 60-40, sorry. I was not in the finance department for a reason, people. What, anybody else want to hazard a guess? 80-20, which way? 80-20? Actually, it's the reverse. And I was shocked when somebody told me that. It's actually quite easy to have ideas. It's very hard getting them done. You've got a legal department, you've got a brand strategy department, you've got operations to be involved, you have finance to be involved, you've got investors to be involved. You actually need to be far more creative down here than you do up there. But here's the importance. Expansive and reductive mix like oil and water. You do not want me in a reductive session because I will come bouncing in when you're trying to just decide which idea we're going to do and how we're going to do it. I'll come in with a new idea. You don't want me there. Equally, I don't want somebody in an expansive session saying no because all the time, because I'll shut down. So one of the creative behaviors I would encourage you to use is signaling. Signaling is incredibly important. Be careful what you ask people for. If you ask somebody, what do you think? What are they going to tell you? They're going to judge it immediately. So I don't invite people to presentations anymore. I invite them to see where we are on the journey. And I'll give you another tip. Don't do a PowerPoint presentation. And another signal, never put a physical object between you and the person you're talking to. I always go in now, there's clients on one side of the table and the agency on the other side of the table. If you put a table between you and your clients, you've immediately asked them to judge whatever it is you're going to bring. Right? If it's Randy, Simon, and Paula, there's the table, I'm a judge. Don't put a table between you and them. Put your presentation all the way around the wall. Even if it's a PowerPoint, start over there and walk with them. A presentation becomes a conversation. My idea suddenly becomes our idea during the conversation. They start to build on it. You'll notice to see them do it. And once you've transferred my idea to our idea, you have a much better chance of getting it through. We'll do all sorts of signaling at the beginning of the meeting. I might draw a picture of a birthday present and I'll ask people to guess what it is. And they'll say it's a present. And I'll say, yes, I need you to be present. I know you're here physically. I need you to be here mentally as well. If the boss or the client gets their cell phone out and I can see it, I can't run up to the boss or the client and say, hey, could you put your cell phone away, please? But I can go back here and say, hey guys, remember we all agreed to be present today? And I'll watch that person put their cell phone away without having to be asked. It's all about giving very clear signals. We're in an expansive session today. Molson Coors has a red card and a yellow card in their ideation sessions. If somebody's no becausing, they'll throw down a yellow card. And so it's a warning. Hong Kong Shanghai Bank have a physical greenhouse in the middle of their offices. We had a room called Ideate. Pixar has a meeting called a plussing meeting. What do you think they do at a plussing meeting? Yeah, they add on, right? They plus it. So did you work for Pixar? No, it's just a very clear signal of what's being required from people in the meeting. So that's signaling. It's just incredibly important that you signal very clearly at the beginning of the meeting. We use toys because it's a light touch. Toys enable you to have a conversation you might otherwise not be able to have. And we use images because it's a light touch. And so what I'm going to do now is we're going to actually model a particular one of our first creative behaviors. What I'd ask you is, has anybody ever pitched an idea to have it killed? Come on, people, put your hands up. Come on, own it. Okay. How do people kill ideas? What? Opinions, what do they say? Closed-minded? Too difficult? Or how about we tried that last year? No, I'm sure you've never heard that. I'll never get that past legal. It's not a strategic brand fit. They've immediately gone into reductive, right? I caught the one that instantly meant your idea was dead in the environment I used to work is, if somebody senior said, interesting, what that instantly meant was your idea is dead now, as opposed to in 5 minutes from now. So I'm going to borrow Christopher. Thank you very much. We're going to demonstrate greenhousing. We're going to demo it, then I'm going to give you a chance to do it yourselves. So Chris, thank you for joining me. Tomorrow night, IZEA they're hosting people to a pool party here in the hotel.
Okay.
But the CEO of IZEA, Ted, really nice guy,
okay.
He's actually given us, right, $500,000 to do a party tomorrow night wherever we want in Orlando. So I was thinking, we'll create a Death Star bus. It'll be black. There'll be a giant black carpet in a galaxy far, far away. And we'll take them to Disney's Hollywood Studios for a sneak peek at Star Wars Land that doesn't open for another 2 years. What do you think?
Don't get it. No, because there's just so many legal things with that. Disney never likes to show anything early. They're still in the very preliminary stages of building that section of the park. So,
all right, I'll tell you what then. We'll bring the Disney characters, all the Star Wars characters from Naboo and Tatooine and Hoth, and we'll do an international intergalactic food and wine festival with the Cantina Band in the pool.
Duncan, Lucasfilm, despite the fact that they made the prequels, they're very, very strict with their guidelines when it comes to the characters. So we can't have certain things working together. So just,
okay,
it's a lot.
We'll serve a Death Star cocktail at the pool party.
Okay.
All right, so you get it. So what I'd like you to do is stand up in a second. One of you got $500,000 for a party tomorrow night. You can do whatever you want. One of you's throwing out the ideas. The second person, the first 2 words out of your mouth are no because. Off you go. All right, let me have you back. Let me have you back. So let me ask you, for those of you, guys, let me have you back. For those of you who are throwing out the ideas, how was that? Hard. Frustrating. Annoying. What? So, no because. I get 2 no becauses in an ideation session, I shut down. You have 2 types of people in your ideation sessions. You have extroverts and introverts. Extroverts tend to talk before they think. I am guilty of that. Introverts think before they talk. Who has the better idea? Actually, you both do, but it's important that you're heard. And if you're constantly no becausing somebody will shut you down very quickly. Did your idea get bigger or smaller? Smaller, right? So we're just going to demonstrate one other one, and then you're going to get to have a go. Same gig,
sure.
$500,000 tomorrow night.
Yes.
We're going to take the buses. They're going to be themed to the Death Star. We're going down to Disney, and we're going to do a Star Wars themed party.
Oh, I love it, Duncan. Yes, and let's give tickets to everybody, not just Star Wars. We'll cover the whole park, all of Hollywood Studios.
Cool. All right.
Once that wraps up, we'll go over to Magic Kingdom too.
Yes, and we'll give them all their Star Wars costume of choice to wear to the party.
Oh, yes, and we'll invite Mark Hamill and maybe Harrison Ford too to join the party. That'd be awesome.
And you fly back in the Millennium Falcon. Woo! Yeah! All right, so now, whoever was throwing out the idea the last time, stand up because you get much better energy if you're standing up. Whoever was throwing out the idea the last time becomes yes and. All you're going to do is yes and each other. So one of you will start and just first 2 words out of your mouth are yes and. Off you go. All right, take a seat. Let me just ask you, guys. Let me have you back. Let me just ask you, in that exercise, did your idea get bigger or smaller? Yes. And when you'd finished, whose idea was it? Bingo. Very important. The moment you can transfer my idea to our idea is the moment you can get it through an organization. Yes and sounds really simple. It's designed to be really simple. These tools were designed to take a very complex creative problem, design thinking model, and just make it easy for people to use. So when you're in an ideation session, yes and. Okay? So what you want to do is, we call it SUN, suspend judgment. It doesn't matter. The first thing out of somebody's mouth might be the wackiest thing you've ever heard. It doesn't matter. Go with it, because it will get you to somewhere different that you couldn't get to by yourself. That's innovative and lateral thinking. I'm going to cover that in just a minute. Understand. Seek to understand what that person said. Ask them questions. Why do you think pink fluffy slippers are a good idea for Star Wars weekends? And ask them, where do you think we should sell them? What's the price point? What's the tie back? And then nurture the idea together using yes and. That's greenhousing. Another behavior that goes really well with greenhousing is playfulness. So let me ask you a question, and I need you to shout loud because it's a little loud at the back. Just first thing that comes into your mind when I ask you this question: where are you and what are you doing usually when you get your best ideas? Shower. What else? Commuting. Running. What? Glass. Drinking. Nice. Man after my heart. Driving. Commuting. The other two that I'm sure I heard but I didn't quite hear is just about to nod off to sleep, just about to wake up. Number one answer is always the shower. Except I did this for a month in India last year, and number one answer was always the toilet, which I thought was remarkably honest. But shower, commuting, riding the bicycle, playing with the children. You are 100% consistent with the 3,000 people we've trained over the last 6 years. None of you said at work. Ooh. Ooh. So I'd ask you to close your eyes for just a second. I want you to be as honest with yourself as you choose to be. You don't have to tell anybody about it. That's the good news. I want you to picture the last verbal argument you were in with somebody, and I'll give you 20 seconds to do it. Just picture that verbal argument. You're having a screaming match. All right, you can open your eyes. The argument's over. You storm out of the room. You leave the building. You cross the street. You're still angry. Get in the car, drive down to Starbucks, sit down, order a coffee, sit down in an armchair, relax. 5 minutes after the argument's over. What just popped into your head? Just then, bang, straight in. What you should have said, the killer one-liner that you'd wished you'd used during the argument. Oh my God, if I'd have said that, I'd have killed it, right? How annoying. Always 5 minutes after the argument. Never, ever, never during you. Oh, if I said that, I'd have landed it. Never. Always 5 minutes afterwards. Here's why. When you are in an argument, sadly, it's the same as being in an office. Your brain is in busy beta. You hear yourself say, I don't have time to think. I'm scheduling an email. I'm doing a presentation. I'm talking to somebody. I'm going to a meeting. I'm typing a PowerPoint. And when you're in busy beta, 87% of your brain is subconscious. Only 13% is conscious. 87%, every person you've ever kissed, every license plate, even the ones you'd like to forget, every license plate you've ever read, every meal you've ever had, every text you've ever felt is back there as stimulus for new ideas. You cannot access that when you're in busy beta. That is the importance of playfulness. That's why I did an energizer when I walked in here to begin with, because I needed to metaphorically place you back in the shower. I don't expect you to be playful every minute of every day, but when you need people to be playful because you want to get them out of busy beta into amazing alpha is when you need to be a bit...